Dan, I think Nintendo have just saved the console generation with that Switch 2 mega reveal. All the specs, all the details, and about 1 billion games. There is so much to get into. And I just said to you, I was halfway through that and I was like, this is the most ridiculous video game announcement stream of all time. And it just kept coming. First of all, general feeling coming out of that.
A little bit overwhelmed. Like, initially when they said it was going to be an hour long, I was like, how are they going to fill it a full hour with stuff?
Yeah.
It's just a console reveal. But oh my god, I'm so overwhelmed right now. There's so much that they've revealed, but I'm feeling very, very positive. What about yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that statement at the beginning is exactly how I feel. Like, we're in a point now where everyone's talking about the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox. Have they really kind of lived up to that price tag that you've spent? And at the time of recording, we don't know the Switch 2 price tag. It's due to be, I guess, revealed later on today when pre-orders go up.
Yeah.
But we do know the release date, and we do know a bunch of specifics. And I'm very, very excited. I think they did an incredible job showing off all the new features and all the upgrades, starting with, I guess, probably one of the most important things is the fact that we have a 4K Nintendo console that can run 120 frames a second. And they did that early on into the stream where they were like, here's a bunch of the numbers. And I think, they displayed that in a way that was quite clear for people like me who don't, I don't believe in ray tracing. So I'm like, yeah, whatever you say, HDR and all this nonsense. But then they really showed it off. Not just first party, but third party games. We saw the Switch 2 versions of like Tears of the Kingdom, the new Pokemon game, which we just saw last week. And, I watched that on the What Culture Gaming official Discord server, link in the comments, link in the description below. And we were all making fun of how the background textures look pretty ropey, but the Switch 2 version looks so much better. Metroid Prime 4 looks so much better. And then they just started throwing all these games that you were like, how is this running on a Nintendo platform? Split Fiction, which is just like a technical marvel, and one of the cherries on top, Cyberpunk, a game that may run better on Switch 2 than it did at launch on
crazy.
PlayStation and Xbox
That is
consoles.
crazy to say that. Like, it just seems like this is Nintendo just stepping into the next generation. And there was so many rumors of it being, it's going to be like PS4 Pro powerful, but surely it must be more than that if it can do 4K 60. And yeah, I wrote a bunch of like notes down here, but it's just it's not gonna help. I think the main thing that we should talk about first is just the console itself.
Sure.
I think the biggest drawback for me, it's an LCD screen. They mentioned that on the actual handheld thing. It's like, why is it not OLED? I don't know. That's probably so they can release a Switch 2 Pro down the line.
I'm sure.
But yeah,
I'm sure they will.
The fact that you can play 4K 60 or 1080 120 is just mind blowing to me. I've got 120 hertz TV, and it's like I can't play at 60 anymore. I'm a little bit of a snob. So that is just music to my ears. And I just wonder what it's going to be like in handheld mode. Like, I can't fathom it handling games like Cyberpunk in handheld mode. I don't know. It's just blown my mind.
I do wonder if there's some caveats there that they haven't properly explained yet. Like, I just give me a little bit of pause when they were like, oh, the dock has an additional fan in it to keep the console, cool. It's like, okay, so if it needs that, what's the situation with handheld there? Or is it going to be fine just because it's got more space to eject that heat or not? Maybe is it the case? And I've long predicted this about the console, that you'll have a better time running games in docked mode.
Definitely.
There'll be some kind of version.
Yeah.
That might be the case, but I don't think they made that overly clear. There were a few things where it's like, what exactly does that mean? But for the most part, they were quite clear about things. When it comes to the lack of an OLED screen, again, speaking as people that don't know the price point, that kind of thing is going to drive the number up even more. Maybe they do want to at least cap it a little bit for now, but you're absolutely right. I'm sure that's coming in a few years' time. And with a roster of games like this, and with those specs, I guess the question, I suppose, for the comments is, are you going to buy this on release date if you can get your hands on one? Or are you going to wait for that eventual OLED that is going to come and get the best out of all these crazy games, including, and I'm just going to go shot here, a brand new From Software IP, which I had no idea was a thing that was happening. And again, neither you or I are particularly FromSoft players, but this is huge news, exclusive to the Nintendo. And my viewpoint from a non-player, this just looks like Bloodborne, but we cut Sony out. Like
Yeah.
this is Bloodborne 2, right? Essentially.
It's insane. Like, I wasn't expecting that. And like you said, I'm not a FromSoft person, so I can't really get hyped for this one. But I understand the like significance of this announcement. It's huge. And just to bring it back to the console itself, because there's so many games we can talk about, and we'll get onto that. But like, there was a lot of emphasis on this C button. There's like chat features. There's going to be like a webcam thing as well.
Right. Yeah.
And there's just so much. There's so much to talk about and so much to just digest. So I don't know what your thoughts are on the Switch finally having a party chat.
My thoughts are like in small bits, to be honest. It's hard to figure out where to go with this because it literally just finished as we were recording this. And I'm like, my blood is fizzing with the amount of information we've just non-stop given. But it was a bit of a shaky start, I think, on the stream to start with that kind of thing. And then they just kind of hit us over the head with all these games. But you're right, we should talk about the C feature, the long rumored and discussed C button.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I mean, it's very easy to pat them on the back and say, welcome to, 2015, guys. You've got party chat. But I think it is good that they've done it. It's good that it just looks straight up like Discord, let's be honest. So don't mess with what people know.
I did notice though, do you know how you can like share your screen with other people?
Yes.
The little like screen sharing thing, it was running at like 10 FPS, and I was like, that's a bit ropey.
And that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, it's very easy to poke fun at that. And I'm not trying to be a sympathizer for a big company here, but I do at least have to appreciate the fact they didn't lie to us about that. They could have shown it all running in 60, like pre-baked in. No, they went, no, it looks like this. Is it really going to matter when the squares are that small and you're just playing with friends? I don't think that kind of stuff matters. I do get it if you're like hanging out and just going to watch a friend play a game, sure. But the fact that this exists, you can all play different games together. You've got this crazy new thing with the camera now where you can put yourself in front of the game and all hang out in a video chat and look at the game footage and each other. And then that also spiraled into, hey, we're going to have games that integrate this as a mechanic. So Nintendo bringing back the iToy, I guess. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it does. They've got I guess the focus is on games, but there's so many new social features that they're bringing to the table here. Like being able to share your games with up to like 3 other friends. That is just mind blowing. It's so
do you remember
good.
Download Play on the Nintendo DS was a feature like that, where it was like one person would have the cartridge and they could send off like a chunk of that game, so you could all play just a few courses of Mario Kart together to kind of get them in and maybe get them to buy the game properly. But the fact you can share whole games with people, it said online as well, I think, didn't it? Which is crazy. Select games, admittedly, but the fact that that's an option is incredible.
Not having it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they did mention that for the like party chat, you need Nintendo Switch Online. I think they're having a little like trial period.
Yes, so, for about a year though. So I mean, that's kind of nice.
It is good, but it's just there's so much to try. I'm still just mind blown by it.
Yeah, it feels like they really had to hit it out of the park with the Switch 2 because. The long-standing Nintendo history is great console, bad console, great console, bad console for a little while now, and we didn't want a Wii U situation. I don't think we're in danger of that happening at this point. And they've actually taken something that, with the Wii U, when they launched it, it was kind of like the last time they really, I felt like, tried a bunch of third-party stuff. People might not even remember that console launched with, it was Call of Duty. I think it was maybe one of the Black Ops games was a launch title. It had Batman Arkham City on it, one of the Assassin's Creed games. But then it kind of whimpered out because companies didn't know how to develop for the Wii U and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like as you said at the beginning, how are they going to fill an hour? And again, people on our Discord server were talking about that. How many properties do they really have? Are they going to be able to say that they're bringing back within the first year or two of this new console? A big chunk of that was huge third-party support, and people excited to be there. It seemed to be part of it, bringing old games to the console, bringing new games to the console. Civ 7 as a launch title is kind of major when it comes to the mouse controls, which we haven't talked about yet.
Oh yeah,
and also future games, not just the From Software, but Borderlands 4 as well is launching on the Switch on release days. So it finally feels like it isn't. I guess we'll see, because it is literally hour one since the announcement.
Yeah.
But how long does it take before it feels less like PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo over here? are they actually going to be a bit more of the conversation now when we have huge names like From Software and the new Borderlands launching day one and exclusively in some cases?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's always been you play the Nintendo Switch console for the exclusives, for the Marios, for the Zeldas. But now, like you said, it's bringing this console into the conversation. It's like, maybe I want to play these third-party games on the Switch because it's more powerful. You can do it in so many different ways with the mouse controls and in like docked mode or in handheld mode. It's bringing so many more options to the gamer, and I think they're just revolutionizing the industry where you have Sony and Microsoft sort of like stagnating over there. It's like Nintendo mean business, and they actually care about us as consumers. They want to bring these sort of features like the sharing games and all that, and I don't know, it's so good. How did you feel about the mouse controls? Because I'm like, is that going to be practical unless you're sitting at a desk?
Yeah, what's it going to be like to bend over, lurching over with potentially 2 Joy-Cons in your hands? I don't know. It's weird, actually, because when they announced, they did that first Switch 2 reveal, a very short one where they just showed like what it looked like. If I remember correctly, it showed something sort of clicking on the bottom of the Joy-Con before going into mouse mode, but we didn't see that here. So I am worried about dragging the Joy-Con on its side around a desk or something. Yeah. Remains to be seen how comfortable that's going to be, but I do think it's great that they are trying something quote-unquote new. I know obviously, playing video games with a mouse is not new, but having that as part of the Joy-Con is really refreshing and new, while also kind of catching up to everyone else in terms of the specs. And I think the big selling point for that, the game that kind of for me was it Drag X Drive?
Yeah,
is it called?
That's like because Nintendo always have like a gimmick thing. It's where you've got the motion controls, and I guess that's kind of what that is. But obviously, it looks really cool, and it's a cool way of implementing that into a game. And
it's such a unique control. I mean, watch them play it. It's like I've got both my hands on the desk to control the wheelchair, and then I can take my hand up and wave to my teammate or dunk a basketball with it. I was like, that's really refreshing and new. I've never played a game like that before. When have you ever played a game with 2 mouse pads, mice before? So
and it's like Metroid as well. You can play shooters like this now, so you get that precision, and it's just it's kind of game changing if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. When we talk about first parties, I don't know if Drag X Drive is necessarily a first party or not. It was so much coming at me so fast. But in terms of the first party stuff, how do you feel about the extended look at Mario Kart?
It looks really
as
cool.
a launch title. Yeah, Mario Kart meets Forza Horizon, basically, right?
Yeah, and it's just enhancing those social features. The graphics look incredible.
Yes.
I guess this is like the culmination. They couldn't just do a Mario Kart game because we've had so many of them. It's like, this is an evolution in this franchise, and it looks so good. And this has come from a person who was always more Crash Team Racing than Mario Kart.
Me too.
I'm so excited to try this one out.
The way that you're right, that it connects with the fact that they're pushing these like social features is really cool. And all we got kind of an improvement on, or maybe not an improvement, but a sort of variation on the changing your kart. You know how in Mario Kart 8 you'd glide around and stuff. Now you appear to be driving on walls and stuff sometimes. You can transform your character's outfit mid-race, which must have some kind of effect, I guess. The number of races has been speculated about since we first saw the game, but we know it's huge. You drive between the races. This looks incredible. It's amazing that they've figured out the way to evolve Mario Kart like that. This is going to be a real system seller. I am terrified for the people that are trying to pre-order this console today and moving forward.
Isn't it? June 5th is the release date.
June 5th, which is 2 months away. So the pre-order craziness is going to take over with this one. And I'm particularly interested in the best controller of all time coming back and getting a pre-order of that as the GameCube comes to Nintendo Switch Online. Just with Wind Waker and F-Zero GX right now. I've never played F-Zero GX. I'm really excited about that.
No.
And a bunch of titles they said to come, but that's a very welcome addition. It feels like an appropriate thing to do when we've got a more powerful console, so we can emulate GameCube games, which they could probably do that on the Switch One if they really wanted to put their mind to it. But I'm not complaining about it because you're right. This is another thing where they were just like, here's a bunch of stuff we did for you.
Yeah, because they didn't have to do this. People would still buy it. People would still play for Nintendo Switch Online with the expansion pack. But it's just another thing. It's like, them embracing their history. It's like once I saw Pokemon XD and Pokemon Coliseum were gonna be available, I was like, I'm gonna have to get it. And it's so good. It's so refreshing to come away from one of these events and be this happy and this giddy and this like hopeful for the future of a console, because the last couple of Microsoft and Sony ones have been a little bit middling for me personally, and I've always been on the side of those consoles, but now it seems as though maybe Nintendo is, like we said earlier, going to be entering the fray of this could be your main console.
I think that is the headline. They've just absolutely embarrassed everyone. Like, it's so refreshing to have. And I know Nintendo maybe have had a dud couple of years because they've kept stuff like quiet like this, so they've been able to do this, and maybe that's what it is, and there's a good argument in that. But having all these state of plays and Xbox streams that have been middling, or maybe that was decent, but I don't know if there's anything that's really sold me. Having this come out so confidently was, hence the head spinning, to be honest. There's so much we haven't talked about. Street Fighter 6 feels like a big thing as well, with Amiibo, and topping it off with we're not getting a 3D Mario necessarily right away, but we are getting a brand new 3D Donkey Kong.
Yes,
I really like the new design, to be honest, and the new mechanic where you can like smash the world up and dig underground. I was like, that's really cool. Yeah, I'll get that.
It's insane. Like, you've got that. You've got, I think, Elden Ring. Well, I've got a list of games.
Elden Ring,
Elden Ring,
that's
Hades
unbelievable.
2, Tony Hawk's 3 and 4, Hitman.
SpongeBob.
that was weird.
The new James Bond game.
James Bond, Like a Dragon. Hyrule Warriors as well. That was a new one.
Wonderful surprise.
It's so much. It's so much to digest, and it's making me happy to be a gamer again, I think.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? And a lot of that stuff is going to come within the next year. Like, we can assume a lot of 2025 dates, some 2026. Nintendo have kept a lot in their back pocket here, and they've very clearly been working very hard on hardware revisions, third-party stuff.
Yeah.
My brain is stewed by this. I just, it's incredible to be like, oh, this is what it's meant to be like.
I think my main concern now is just the pricing of things.
Right.
How much is a console going to cost? How much are the accessories going to cost? How much are the like upgrades paths for games you already own as well? Because they said you can upgrade your games, but you've got to purchase that, and they didn't see a price. So I think that's just a cynical part of my brain. Like,
I think it's a good point.
There.
It's definitely something worth talking about, though. Like, again, we don't know the price point. You may well know what it is now watching this, whereas we don't, and maybe that's going to be the sting. Do you have a prediction? Like, sure, you don't go above 400. Still seems like quite a lot, but I feel like I maybe could be. I could be convinced. Yeah.
I think I'd pay up to 450 for it. I think. But I can't see them going higher than that. Surely not.
No, I guess it depends on. I know they talked a little bit about the versions. There's a version with a digital Mario Kart, and is there a version just without a game? That's going to be a factor as well. People are going to want some. I don't know. It's interesting. There's so much of it. It's hard to say what's going to be available on day one, especially also when you take into the Switch 2 versions of Switch 1 games, whether that's buying that exclusive upgrade pack or buying a physical version, which you'll be able to do apparently with some of these games, which is cool. It's going to be very interesting to see what the first few weeks of that are like in terms of, because Nintendo also said, and we talked about this a little bit with Scalpers, Nintendo said they're going to work really hard to produce as much possible so they can avoid people missing out.
Going to be able to hit that demand though, because surely after this, the demand is going to just skyrocket.
Not after that. I don't think they're going to be prepared for how much they have truly completely knocked it out of the park. Let us know down in the comments below what you thought of the Switch 2 Direct. Are there any particular games in there that absolutely blew your mind? I think Josh might be doing something about the new From Software game as we speak, once he's picked his jaw up off the floor. So we'll have that to you, and we'll probably do a list on some of my thoughts in terms of the most exciting stuff to come on the Switch 2. But Dan, it's to Switch 2. It's real.
It's real. Come over to Discord and talk to us about it.
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.
Bye.